In this best office chair tier list, we are ranking the best seat comfort for 12 popular chairs at a wide range of price points. Ryan's going to kick it off with the STEELCASE Elite V2. What do you think?
For me, this is an easy A. This is a chair that I sat in for a couple years. I really like the seat. It's more of a firm design, but it does have good padding. It's comfortable, and I really like how flexible it is because I move a lot when I work, and so being able to flex and move and have the seat move with me is a really great design. So easy A tier for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with Ryan. This is an A for me for sure. I just like how the seat flexes, moves. You're able to kind of sit in different sitting styles, and it still is going to just accommodate for that. I just can't think of anything I don't like about this seat, so it has to be an A.
I think it's crazy because this was my daily driver, still is, but just not to the same level. I go A-, B+, and the only reason for that is just because longer periods for me, I find that my tailbone gets a little bit tired in this chair if I kind of slouch. So the flexible front, like Ryan, I love it. The chair, it's really good.
Yeah, easy A tier, I think.
So the next chair up, another STEELCASE chair. It's the AMIA, and this one, 100% S tier for me. I think it's got a very similar thinness in the seat pad and firmness to the Leap, but it actually is a little flatter seat design, which is why I like it more. It disperses my weight a little bit better. I have no problem sitting in this chair for 10 plus hours a day, so it's really a good chair.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be equally happy in both the AMIA and the Leap, so they're both A's for me. This is going to be another A for the AMIA. I like the flatter seat design, as Greg said, so that does maybe give it a little bump over the Leap, but it doesn't quite have the flexibility, I feel like, as the Leap, so you can't go wrong with either of these chairs.
Robert basically said exactly what I'm going to say. It feels a little bit thicker than the Leap, but it doesn't have the movement in the seat like the Leap does. So for me, it's still going to be an A. It's just a little bit of a trade-off what you prefer more, a little bit more movement or a little bit more softness. I think both of them are amazing seats, so I think it's pretty consensus A tier here as well.
So I don't think we're going to have another A here with the SECRETLAB Titan. This is going to be a D for me. Just really firm sit. The one good thing about it is pretty large and kind of open, but it's just so hard. It actually might still be the best racing chair seat, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with Robert. This is one of the hardest seats I've ever used. Super, super stiff. It's also really deep, so even the size that's supposed to fit me doesn't really fit me properly, and without seat depth, it can kind of be a problem. And it's also really rigid, so you have no freedom of movement. For me, again, this is going to be a D tier. Only reason it's not F is because it does have some softness.
Ooh, I'm hitting the F tier on this one right away, and for me, it is hard as a rock, flat. There's like no curve at all to the seat cushion. 30 to 60 minutes and it becomes unsittable. Unsittable, in my opinion, F tier.
So F, D, we'll put it in D. Next up, CLATINA MELET. Now this is going to be the Leap knockoff, but I will say for me, the seat doesn't really compare to the Leap. You're not going to get the flexibility. The foam isn't nearly as good of quality, so I would have to bump it down to a B tier. It is similar, and I do find it to be comfortable, but just not up to the standard of the Leap. Still very good for the price, though.
I don't know if I'm going to be out on a limb here because I'm going C-, D+. A lot of it has to do with fit for me because the seat pad is not long enough, and so when I adjust it out for the correct depth, my butt hangs off the back. You can feel the hard edge on the seat, so it doesn't fit me right. Unfortunately, I can use it, so it's not unsittable, but C-, D+.
I'm right there with Greg on the C-. It's actually surprisingly more comfortable than I expected for a chair in that price range, but the fit is just weird. You have to slide the seat depth all the way out for it to fit someone that's my height at 6'2". But when you do that, you sit on the back edge of the seat frame. So it's just not super comfortable, but yet if you get in the right spot, it can be okay. So that's why I keep it at a C, just a low C.
Where are we putting this? Probably C, average it out. The COSM?
Yeah, we got the COSM up next, and this is like weird for me. I'm not a big mesh seat guy, but I say this is, for mesh seats, the best in the business. I think this is probably the only mesh seat that I really actually could use on a daily basis. It feels like you're floating in a hammock. It doesn't have any hard edges, which you find on like the AERON, and it makes that chair really tough for me to sit in long periods. So I'm going A.
Is that an actual rating?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
You didn't see that coming?
No, of course not. It's a mesh seat, and you hate mesh seats.
I hate mesh seats, yeah.
Yeah, every part about this chair makes you want to just kind of float in it. And I think that seat lends to that because you do feel like you're kind of suspended in it, which is what's the best part about that chair. I would give it an A with Greg, but I'm going to go down to a B just because the seat pan is so short for me that my legs are hanging too far off the front edge, and I just kind of almost feel like I'm going to slide off the front. For me, it's a B.
I feel like I'm in crazy town right now because I know that Greg hates mesh seats, and there's a lot of things about the COSM seat that Robert should also hate, like the size. I do like the hammock feel, and I like that there's not a hard frame at the front that you feel, but at the end of the day, this is a mesh seat, and I don't really like mesh seats. You got a hard frame. It's not super supportive for me. So for me, this is a D plus C. For just the seat comfort, probably lean towards the C because of the hammock feel, but that's where I would be with the COSM.
What does that put us at?
I don't know. You guys are like A, B, and then I'm C, so I guess this is a B tier seat. CXO is next, and this is an interesting chair because I sat in this for so long, like a decade, and it's only because of the seat. This is an A-tier seat for me, super cush, really unique foam system with the Enersorb foam from Nightingale, no hard edges. It's a big seat as well, so you have a ton of space to work with. Initial comfort, A-tier for me.
I don't really like thick seat pads. I'm going B tier on it, and it's a couple reasons really. I feel like the Enersorb foam, one of the better thick seat pads to actually have some support and softness in it, which is tough to find, but it holds too much heat for me, and I do get worried from Ryan's testing of it for so many years that it just wasn't good long term. B tier on it for me.
Yeah, I'm also at a B. I mean, the thick pad feels so nice. Like Greg said, you get really warm in it pretty fast, I felt. To be honest, this chair, it just doesn't fit me at all. And I know we're just talking about the seat, but because of that, I can't even give it a long enough sit test to really even test out this seat. So if you're over 6 foot, I would probably just steer away.
All right, so I think with that, we'd probably a B overall for that CXO.
The BTOD AKIR chair. For me, this is going to be a B+. The AKIR is typically purchased because of the seat. It's thick and it's soft. My one complaint about the AKIR seat is you're not going to get a lot of flexibility out of it, and so that's going to be kind of a reason why it wouldn't push up to A tier for me. But I do think it's pretty comfortable, nice and soft if you're looking for a thicker option.
Yeah, I think it's probably a C plus B minus for me. Again, I don't love thick seat pads, but this one fits me pretty well. I wish it was just a little bit more supportive, like it pushed back a little harder. It's a little too soft for me, and sometimes I feel like I'm kind of getting to the bottom of the seat pad.
Yeah, I'm kind of right with you. It's a B for me. It feels a little like a couch feeling where you just kind of plop in and sink down into it. I just would prefer something a little more supportive like some of the other firm seats we've talked about. It's still a B for me because it is very comfortable. One thing I don't like is I really don't like the fabric on these chairs. They just get stuff all stuck in them, and it's not my favorite.
All right, Han Ignition. What do you got, Ryan?
This is going to be a very mediocre seat for me. Middle of the road, which is to be expected out of a chair at this price point. It doesn't do anything that I hate. It just doesn't do anything that I love or wow me. I think the foam is pretty average to underwhelming, but I think that it's going to be a pretty good seat for most people that use it. I don't see a lot of people hating it, so I just give it a C tier.
The seat pad seems okay for the price. That fabric is like really rough on it, and it almost restricts how much it moves. So I think if maybe there was an improvement there, or there was another option, I might be able to bump it up. But C tier, kind of a safe pick for the price.
Yeah, this seems like the most average seat you can get, so it's a C for me too. I did feel like it felt a little kind of stiff in the front, like I could feel it cutting into the front of my legs just a little bit, and I couldn't figure out why, but it might be something with the fabric not letting it stretch. Just doesn't have much of a waterfall in the front, so it's a C for me.
Ikea Markus.
To me, it has a slightly more padding than the Titan, which is just not really a compliment because the Titan basically has no padding, but it does make it just above the Titan, so I give it a D. It does have a little bit more width to it. It has a decent size, but just the seat depth is very short. So for someone taller, it's just not a great seat.
I went D minus on this one. It feels like it goes like flat, like there's nothing pushing back at all, which makes it really uncomfortable for me. And if I kind of get off center, I feel like I bottom out on it, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, I just don't like IKEA chairs in general. So
yeah, I mean, I think the seat's a little bit better for me. I don't have a problem with the depth of the seat, and I like the softness. I will say that after a few hours in the chair, you will feel like you're starting to bottom out, so the foam isn't super quality, but I'd still put it somewhere around C tier, maybe right behind the Ignition, just because I thought it was pretty comfortable for the time that I did use it.
So that's going to be probably D tier.
Yeah, D tier, averaging it out. OM seating Yes chair. This is a super comfortable seat. I would have to put this up in A tier. It's just a better version of the AKIR. You're going to get that thick, soft seat that you really sink into, but I don't have the problem like Greg mentioned where you will eventually start to feel like you're bottoming out in the AKIR. I think it holds its shape a lot better, and I'm not someone that hates the contour. This would probably be an S tier chair for me if it had a little bit of flexibility in the seat, but I'd be comfortable putting it in A.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on. I go A tier with this one too. It does exactly what he said. I don't bottom out on it. It has really good pushback, but it's nice and soft. The contour doesn't bug me, which is something that people I think would probably be concerned with when they look at the pictures. But with the combination of the upholstery we've got on there, it's A tier all day.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the contour looks much more than it really feels. Like it looks like you're going to be really kind of closed in on it, but you don't feel that way when you're sitting in it. So this was a high B just because I don't necessarily love the thicker padded seats. Again, you just can't go wrong. You're going to be comfortable and it'll fit basically everyone.
All right, we'll throw it like A-, 2 A's and a B+, right behind the AMIA. I think that's super fair.
So this next chair, the neutral posture 8000, I was able to grab it quick while one of the sales guys was standing at their desk because these are never available. You can never sit in them because the sales guys just love these chairs. It's a really wide cushioned seat. I can see why they like it so much. You can just feel really comfortable even if you move around a little bit in it. It doesn't necessarily have flexibility, but yet because it's just big and wide and cushioned, you're going to be comfortable kind of however you sit in the chair. So this is an A for me.
I'm going B+ on it. There's a wide range of sizes available. So the one that we have here that I sat in, it's probably a little too wide for me, but I think the upholstery, density of the foam feels good for a thick pad. The only miss, I think, for me personally, if it was a little bit more dense, I'd probably jump up to A. I kind of feel like if I don't sit perfect on it, sometimes I feel the bottom of the seat.
For me, it's a little bit more firm. It's like a more firm version of the Yes Chairs seat. So for me, it's going to be B tier as well. It's wide, like you said, a lot of room, but it's not as soft, and you're not going to get any flexibility out of the frame because it is pretty rigid. Overall, I think it's a pretty well-made seat, but the lack of movement, I'd have to drop it down to a B. But it is a nice thick option for those of you that don't want a thin, firm pad.
It's probably high-end B then.
Yeah.
Last chair, Herman Miller AERON. I've been spending a little bit more time in this chair, and I'm going C tier on the seat. There are some things that could bring it up if I liked mesh seats more, but compared to the classic chair, this one is actually sittable for me. I think the pellicle mesh is some of the best out there. It's not as comfortable as the COSM though, and I think the hard frame with the restricting of the movement in the chair brings it down some, so I'm going C.
I have a hard time putting this anywhere above D, and truthfully, I could make an argument that for me personally, this is an F tier seat, just because the seat is the only reason that keeps me from using this chair as my daily driver. I would love to sit in that chair every day. I use it a ton in the conference room. I just can't because the seat is so rigid. Like Greg said, you can't move around at all. I hate the bucket sides. And so for me, this is going to be a D tier seat for comfort.
So I do love the AERON. I'm a huge fan. The worst part about the AERON is the seat. So I still give it a B though, because I do like the kind of suspended feeling you get in it, which really lends to the recline. It kind of all works together. The hard frame on the edges is just the part that really brings it down. So I love the chair. It's my favorite mesh chair, but yet the seat is like I said, the worst part, but it's still a B. I'll give it a B.
Where does that put this?
I think you went C, I went D, and he went B. So we'll go like here.
All right. I mean, I think this is a pretty good list with the exception of the AMIA. It should be an S tier, but let us know what you think in the comments of our rankings if you have a different opinion. And if you like this video, check out the other one where we looked at overall comfort of 30 popular chairs. Thanks for watching.